Been having a few people comment lately on my videos saying that the 5 minute opening range break is not profitable. It's not a good strategy, and there's no way that 1 to 2 risk to rewards are even doable in this market. I don't know why people are saying that in the comments. So I figured the best thing to do is just recap. If I were to use the 5 minute opening range break on NQ and ES, would I have been profitable at the end of the week? I'm going to keep track of it right up here. And let's run through Monday through Friday on NQ and ES, how this would have played out. Okay, so I have my indicator on that basically tells me whenever there's a break and it retouches the midpoint, this would be my indicator on my 5 minute opening range break to take the position it's telling me. So this is Monday. You can see down here at the very bottom where my ticker is, or my mouse, that it's Monday the 17th. We're going to go through NQ and ES. We get a big break here. It says go long. I don't even need to map this one because my strategy, go in here, set my stop loss at the bottom of the zone or the top of the zone based on what it tells me. You can already tell right here, this long would have lost. I would have lost that trade. This short would have went out the other side. I would have also lost. Then this long right here, I'm going 0 for 3 on Monday. I can't believe the weekly start I'm having. I'm really excited, and I'm considering quitting trading at this point. I am 0 for 3. Okay, we are 0 for 3. So we are moving on to Tuesday, NQ. Tuesday, big break, 5 minute opening range, big break, retouches. If you were playing this, you probably would have had a win. That's not how I do it. This right here is a short, and it just would have chopped. I technically, at the end of the day, would have been profitable, but we're going to count it as a null. We're not going to count that as a win or a loss. We just are going to say this wasn't a 1 to 2 and it wasn't a loss, so we're going to leave that one alone. We're on to Wednesday. So after the weird volume day, later in the afternoon, this is around 9 a.m., but noon Eastern Standard Time, you would have had a long. This would have lost. You can see it comes out the bottom. This is a short. It ticks out the top. You would have had 2 losses right there. But then this long would have won because I go here and bottom of the zone, which is where it's at. I know these indicators are in the way, but you guys can see right here, we are at the bottom of the zone. That's 39 points. We are targeting, let's just call it 80 right here. We would skip these two because we're still in the play. So these two wouldn't have counted. This one here, though, we would be in the play from this original long. This would have ticked out right here. That would have been a win. And then also we would have got another indicator signal right here at the end of the day. This one would have also been a win. So 2 losses, 2 wins. So now we're off to Thursday. So Thursday morning, you can see we have a long call right here. We would have went in at this point. We would have set our stop loss at the bottom of the zone, which would have been right about 49 points, targeting, let's just call it 100 for easy numbers here. We would have been really close, but we would not have actually ticked out. So we would still be in this trade. It would still be going. We would skip that one. This one here would be a win. The original one, this one doesn't count. So that's one win. And then this long right here is obviously a loss, and it just goes. So we are 1-1 on Thursday. 3 wins, 6 losses going into Friday on NQ. So right here, you can see we would have taken a short. I would have set my stop loss at the top of the zone. This would have been a loss. This one here would have been a clear win. You would have been able to run this one a lot longer than 1 to 2. But for the sake of the example, for all the people that say 1 to 2s aren't possible in this market, we would have ran this down to almost a shoot. What is this one? This would have been a 1 to 61 points on the stop to 283. It would have been a 1 to 4 plus, but we'll call it a 1 to 2. So that's a loss. That's a win. This is a loss. And this one you can very clearly tell without me mapping it out is a win. But for the sake of the people who are being haters, we'll map it out. Bottom of the zone, 66 points. We would have ran this one up before market close to 333, would have been well over a 1 to 5. So 2 wins, 2 losses on Friday for NQ. If you guys know anything about targeting a 1 to 2 risk to reward, you would know going 5 and 8, we are profitable and making money. But let's move on to ES. Let's start on Monday. We'll go to 1400, which is market close. Just like on Monday with NQ, you would have started with 3 losses. This is a loss. This is a loss. This is a loss. So we are now 5 and 11 on the week. Let's move on to Tuesday. Could have just skipped Monday in the beginning. Could have just done that, but wanted to show you. Here we go here. Big break. Nothing there that you can do. A short, and you would have been stopped out. That would have been a loss. Would have been your only play. And Monday, Tuesday would have absolutely sucked, and you'd probably be taking the rest of the week off. Anyways, let's say we did not do that and we kept going. We are 5 and 12 going into Wednesday. This is where it gets fun. Right here, we get a big break. Okay, this one here, you know that these are wins, but we'll map them out. This is a long. We go in here at the midpoint, targeting the bottom of the zone, 7.75 points. You can see here before this long is called, we would have had a 1 to almost 3, so that would have been a win. This long would have been a loss, comes out the bottom. This short would have been a loss. We are one win, 2 losses, and then This long would have won, and this long would have won. Again, just for everybody's viewing pleasure, we will map both of these out. This one you would have ran easily a 1 to 3, and then this one right here, you would have ran a 1 to almost 3 as well. So 3 wins, 2 losses on ES puts us at 8-14 on the week right now, going into Friday to see if we can redeem ourselves. You can imagine we will. So here we go. On Friday, we would go in right here. We would be at the top of the zone, and we would be targeting a 1 to 2, which would get us right at 20 points. If we would have set this too conservative, we would have ticked out. It almost breaks the zone, comes back, and right here, that's a win. Then this short right here would have immediately presented again. 4 minutes later, that would be another win. So 2 wins. This short obviously wins. You can see that very clearly from here. This would have been much more than a 1 to 2 for the guy who said, of course, I cherry picked the best. Yeah, this is a 1 to 4.5. And then this short right here would have obviously lost, and that would have ended your week. You would have had 3 wins, 1 loss on Friday, bringing us to a grand total of 11 wins and 15 losses on the week. So, with all of that being said, let's pull up our calculator. This is why when you target a 1 to 2 risk to reward, this can be so profitable. 11 wins, 15 losses. Let's do the losses first. 15 times 500. I always risk 500 to make 1,000. A 1 to 2 risk to reward. I would have lost $7,500. Okay, on my losses. 15 losses at $500 that would have just stopped out $7,500. I would have had 11 wins times $1,000 would have been 11,000 minus 7,500 on our losses. I would have had a $3,500 week if I would have taken every single one of these opening range break trades at a 1 to 2 risk to reward. A lot of these as well got more than a 1 to 2, but for the sake of consistency in the video, I just counted a 1 to 2. Some of those we got a 1 to 4, some we got a 1 to 5 almost. If I would have let these run and trailed my stop loss down into my take profit zones and just trailed them down, if I averaged a 1 to 3, I would have made 5-6 grand this week. So guys, that right there just goes to show you with a strategy, even as simple as the 5-minute opening range break, even if you take more losses and you take wins, you can still have a profitable week. And if you are making $3,500 a week, you do that 4 times a month, every single week, you are making $14,000 a month. But the guys who keep saying, this is a horrible strategy, this doesn't work, what bad advice, I can't believe you would say that. Of course, you cherry pick the top. I didn't cherry pick the top. I show you the losses too. A 1 to 2 risk to reward at minimum on the week, if you were consistent, would have paid you $3,500 minimum.